Just F it. Hi, I'm Romy, an identity coach helping others who struggle with their sexual identity and families of queer youth find their path of understanding and acceptance.
And I'm Carla, a mom empowerment coach empowering moms to own their new identities and motherhood journeys.
And together we are the Effing Madres. We are here to invite you guys into stories of some inspiring madres
who have changed their lives through an F it moment. So here we go. Just F it.
Hey everybody, happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Camaraderie Monday, Motivation Monday, Madre Monday, you know, all the things.
Mompreneur Monday. I mean, we
Mompreneur.
have a list of the Mondays. A case of the Mondays. Hopefully this case is inspiring and lifts you up. We are the Effing Madres. Who are we, Carla?
Well, she's Romy. I'm Carla. We are the Effing Madres. This is a podcast for madres, moms, supporting other madres through these big, fully loaded, purposeful F-it moments that we have as moms, because let's be real, we have many of them, but we're talking about the ones that really shift shit for us and our families. And so, you know, Romy and I are going through ours. They can be lengthy, and there can be a snowball of many of them, which we both have experienced personally since we both started this podcast.
I feel like this is the rest of my life. My life
Right,
bio
yeah.
is going to be, she lived an F-it moment.
Yeah, a nonstop F-it moment. But hopefully it inspires other moms out there who might be on a brink and know that they need to change, but they're so scared of taking that first step, to help them push through to take that first step, because it really is, as messy as they are, it's so worth it, because you learn so much about yourself, about you open your eyes up to new perspectives, and new opportunities come your way because you're looking at things differently. So it's worth it. Do it. Just F it.
Just F it. And for those of you that hear us say just F it, it isn't like fuck it in like we don't give a shit way. It's like just effing care enough to go after something. It was funny because my daughter saw the old mug that said fuck it on it, and she was like, "Mommy, like, why do you have that?" And I was like, no, it's like a positive thing. I know. I was like, it's a motivational thing. Like it's like the Nike just do it, but
Yeah.
with a little more grit.
Yeah.
So, you know, today we have a mama that I know that I am friends with out here in Austin. I haven't caught up with her in a very long time, but she did reach out recently about a book that she published. Not another self-help book. Her name is Lindsay. I know that she's been in the public eye for years in terms of her faith, Christianity, and then being queer, and has dealt with like that transition. So she's been in the public eye for a long time, and then she launched her book. I don't know where she's at. I know this was a big F-it moment. So I'm excited to chat with her. She's always been an inspiring human being who's been pretty loud with her voice and her story. So we always love that, and we're looking for that. So
Okay.
I'm excited to jump on and hear how she wrote this book, what inspired her, you know, what her message is right now.
Awesome. So am I. Okay, we're going to bring her right on.
Okay, everybody, we are here with my friend Lindsay. We are so excited to jump into these questions and hear about her F-it moment. Welcome, Lindsay.
Hello, ladies. Hello, everyone listening. Glad to be here.
Happy Monday. All right, Carla, do you want to just start us?
Yeah. So, Lindsay, the first question is, what is the F-it moment you're going to share with us today since becoming a mom, and why did you have this shift?
Whew. Okay. So I think what probably most of us can relate to is, you know, there's a bunch of F-it moments. And so it's that collection of losses and trauma and everything we experience. But since being a mom, I would have to say probably my first divorce. And I say first divorce because I'm currently going through my second, which I can't talk much about for legal reasons. But it's when your whole life that you have planned out this dream that you've had, it's going to look this way. You're going to grow old with this individual, and we're going to ride off into the sunset. And then it all falls apart and blows up, and you're left with these small kids and trying to figure out, wait, what the hell am I supposed to do with this now, when nothing goes as planned? So that was my F-it moment, because that's when I realized, oh, my plans, it's a joke. I can kind of plan, but for the most part, I have no idea what's going on. I have no idea what's best for me. And that gave me a lot of freedom.
I love you saying this as a woman that has been divorced with a kid and divorced many moons and many times before I was even a mother. As we know, I'm a pro at this now. I know that after we get divorced with children, like you said, Lindsay, and so many listening can relate, it is that, okay, well, the picture's gone that I painted. I thought I knew exactly how this was supposed to look, but the reality is I don't, right? And the Evitt moment comes when you get into that position and you go, okay, well, I'm going to have to fucking figure this out now. You
Mhm.
know,
Yep, you have to let go.
you have to. Yes. So in that then, by letting go, what did you do? What was the Eff it moment? What was your movement?
I think it was when I finally decided to choose me. As it sounds selfish, but I think that's what we really all have to do. It was this moment, and I think I was possibly laying in a bathtub eating a chicken breast off of a fork. I feel like, we have these moments in our life where you're like, I'm not proud of that, but I'm going to tell everyone that's listening about that moment. And I realized, is this the life that I want to show my kids? Who am I going to be as the best mom? Well, it's if I'm my best self, if I'm fulfilled, if I'm happy. And I knew that I had done everything that I possibly could do to try to keep our family together, to try to not, nobody wakes up in the morning and goes, I think I want to get divorced today. That sounds really fun. And so it was this moment where clarity broke through, and I was like, I don't want to be an example for my kids uh, of anything less than what I would want for them, the very best for them. And so it was making that choice to move forward with the divorce and start to be really mindful about what role did I play in it? How can I learn from this so I don't keep repeating these patterns? And I felt like I was choosing my kids, but I could only do that if I chose me.
That is not a selfish thing at all. If anything, it is
I
the
agree.
most selfless thing, because you're showing your children like what you truly want in life, which sets them up to have that in their, mindset when they're going through things in their life. So it's very important to be putting yourself first, because when they see their mom happy, like I think there's like scientific research that shows like when mothers are happy, the
Yep.
whole family is happy, because
Mhm.
it has to be that way. So it's not a selfish, I don't think it's a selfish thing at all. Very selfless.
No, it's not. And I, got into new friendships, and I learned so much about myself, grew so much. I'd say my faith is stronger. You really have to have that dark night of the soul where, I didn't know if I was going to get through it. I mean, I know y'all can relate. You have those dark, dark moments, but I started writing more songs. I hadn't really written songs in a while, and man, there is nothing like a shattering heartbreak where your life falls apart for you to write some really, good songs that are gut wrenching. And to making an album, that was really fun.
Lindsay, let me let the audience know really quick as a backstory. Pre mom, Lindsay was a faithful Christian singer, right? Like pretty known in that world,
Yeah,
like
yeah. I mean, I'd
pretty
say
well
like B
known.
list.
Yeah, okay, B-list Christian singer, but definitely that's what that was like pre-mama, right? So I've
Yep.
seen you kind of repost some songs and like be more out there with your music right now on social media. And so for those of you listening to her say that, like it's beautiful to watch you kind of tap into that again, right? And to like take your life and take your emotions and take what you're going through and do it in an artistic way, whether that be your music or for those of you listening, if we can get into this, like you wrote a book.
Yep, I did, and I write about my first divorce in the book. But really, the impetus for starting to write the book, it was right at the beginning of COVID, and I was meditating, and I had this very clear breakthrough moment. It's like it's time to start writing the book. I worked on it for 3 years. The editing process took a year because I write way too many words, and that's how I healed. So writing these songs, I used to be in full-time ministry. I came out in 2009 and lost my career. There's not a big, need for openly gay women in evangelical Christianity.
I beg to differ. There's a huge need. There's a
That's
huge.
right.
It's
There's
like
a need, but yeah, they're not breaking down my door to be like, lesbian, please lead worship for our women's conference where we're all a bunch of bigoted homophobes.
fact, fact. But we still need your voice. We need your music, and we need your faith. You kind of reached on the opportunities it brought for you in terms of like making new friendships, writing this book, getting in touch with your faith and your art, right? Going into the next one, then it's what are the positive and negative things that you've learned about yourself since starting this journey with your book, with
Hmm.
your music, the season that you've been through?
Yeah. I am resilient as fuck. And I'm tired. I'm tired of being resilient. I would love a good season where we don't have any character building. We don't need any hello. But I have this confidence now that I can get through anything.
Mm-hmm.
I my brain has changed to start reframing the way that I look at life. So instead of seeing life happening to me, I know it's happening for me, as cheesy as that sounds. And also, something interesting that came out of it was comedy. I love writing stand up comedy. And Romy, I owe you a lot for this,
I was
forcing
just
me
thinking
beyond
of
my
that.
will.
Like, I had a birthday party at Patrizi's. Remember, Carly, you went there, that Italian restaurant that
Yeah,
has the
yeah,
outside?
yeah.
And Lindsay was at my birthday, and I like pretty much forced her to get up on stage and do comedy for me and my friends.
You
And
did.
she
And
had
I was
the
not prepared at
no, at
all.
all. And she had everyone like on their like on the floor. She was doing some Lizzo stuff. So I love hearing
Oh,
this. And if I had
wow.
any influence in this, then that makes me very happy.
You really did. And so I learned, I mean, probably one of the most positive things is finding a way to laugh through it. Not in a toxic positivity, like ignoring the hard shit way, but in a I've got to laugh, otherwise I'm going to drive my minivan off of a bridge. So, yeah.
Wow. That is awesome.
I would like to know though too, like, so through your comedy, through your like writing, with your book and all of this, like this is all, would you say, like coming out of you, like pouring out of you through these divorces and COVID? Would that be like what really pushed out this part of you?
Yes, it was COVID. It was how traumatic those years were for me and my family, and how our lives were forever impacted by mental illness, and some really dark moments. And the book was the way that I healed, like going away one weekend a quarter to work on it. I didn't know it was going to turn into like this thing that I'm holding right now, but the book was the medicine. And you saying pouring out, that's exactly what it feels like. If I didn't get this stuff out through either comedy, music, writing the book, writing more songs, I don't know if I'd be standing today, to be honest with you.
So it sounds like it was something almost that absolutely had to come out of you. So I'm curious, did you ever feel, because you've never written a book before, so this is like a new venture for you due to all of the snowball effects of what had happened before. Did you ever come up against like self-doubt and imposter syndrome to be writing a book that you've never done before?
Never.
Never.
Yes, of course. On the daily. Oh, I had this. That's what kept me from writing the book. I've wanted to write a book for 15, 20 years, but what kept me from it is, who are you? Why do
Right.
you have a book? What, and then just what are people going to think? Is it going to be terrible? Is anyone going to buy it? And I just had to let that go. And like I said, I started writing it for me to heal. If my kids are the only ones that read it, that was going to be a win for me.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I think spot on. I still struggle every day with self doubt. And that's why, I'm so thankful for therapy and some tools that I have to attack those narratives that no longer serve me and aren't true.
Yeah.
No, they're not true. What do you, other than therapy, which is like huge, obviously I'm as well using that as a tool. What do you really use to push yourself through when those dark voices come up?
I do a lot of journaling and meditating, mindfulness. Right now, I'm going through PTSD trauma informed therapy. So EMDR, CPT, there's a lot of different, words to use. But having a support group, having people around you that, are your folks. I write about in the book who's in your waiting room as you're waiting to go through these transitions. Who are you surrounding yourselves with? And then I'm being really honest. I'm actually not hiding in my house in the darkness doing it all alone. I'm opening up and I'm telling people that I trust, hey, this is what's going on. It's amazing how I start to become aware of my thoughts, and I want to become like a metacognition ninja. And it just means thinking about what I'm thinking about. So as those thoughts come into my mind, Lindsay, who are you? People are judging you. You sound like an idiot. I can become aware of it, knowing I'm not responsible for my first thought, but I'm responsible for my second thought and my first action. Mm-hmm. And then starting to challenge those. And I usually do that through writing or adult coloring books.
Those are great. I have some of those too.
Those are great.
But
and I have an adult coloring book page in between every chapter, so you can journal.
I love that.
That is so
before you go to the next chapter. Yeah,
that is so cool. I was just going to touch on like being someone who has kept who was actually very prideful of always being a loner. Like I've realized that shit does not fucking work. Like it does not get you. First of all, you're in your head way more than you need to be. And also, you don't realize that there are other people that are like going through the same shit. And if you're able to be bonded with another person and just have a conversation that's like, oh shit, you're going through that too, it really does help you crawl out of the hole that I didn't know I was in. So for any mom out there who's like, I don't need anybody, yes, you do. You do. I mean, absolutely.
Jumping on that, even like with some of the coaching that I've been doing with some of the people I'm like working with, we create this story in our heads so often. I mean, so many of us that like, this is only happening to me. I am literally this one person on this planet that is suffering. Like the world has fallen on why me, you know what I mean? And it's like, get the fuck out of it. We're all fucking going through it. If we just start talking about it or writing about it or expressing it, we're better together because we all can actually like break that fake wall, right? And see that other humans are also dealing with like childhood trauma, unhappy in their marriage, like don't know how to be a good parent and a good, solo person to themselves. Like these challenges are happening all around us. So the more people do speak up like this, Lindsay, and thank you for sharing, the more moms sitting at home that are sitting there trying to like package it all up with a bow are like, okay, no, you're not, I hate to say this, but knowing you're not that special, right? Like
you're not unique.
You're not unique. Like I'm not unique. You're not. Like what's unique is how you go about healing it and sharing it and helping somebody who's also going through it. And we heal ourselves by helping others, right? So it is no good if we just sit there in our room and we're like, I'm not going to talk to anyone. And I'm really special. I have the worst life, you know, like,
yeah.
And I tell some of the people when you said that with the honesty is, writing, because I'm also writing right now, Lindsay, and I'm inspired by you through this. I was just talking to Carla about my writing before we got on here. But if you're not honest, if you're writing bullshit or you're speaking bullshit, you're going to stay in the bullshit. So I have some clients that like start to write and they're journaling, but they struggle with even being able to put the pen to paper with honesty. Even that is hard to like write their own truth, right? Like people don't understand that's such a healing process if you're truly being honest.
Right. But I think that's the hardest part. I'll speak for myself, is to be honest with myself, because we are really good at co-signing on our own bullshit.
Yes.
And our left brain tells our right brain stuff. It's like, oh yeah. And you end up in this echo chamber. So I don't even know if I was really honest with myself until that big, call it the F it moment in the beginning of COVID. And now I'm able to be so honest. I mean, rigorous self-honesty, which then leads to acceptance.
Yes.
That has enabled me to be so much more real and discerning when it comes to who I can be real with. That's a huge one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think so much of, at least I'm doing the EMDR therapy with you as well. I'm right on that. I'm right on that whole wagon. It saved my life for the last 2 years I've been in it. I go consistently. Like it's not been like a short journey, but I know you're doing that. And when you really are ready for that type of work, and you're really ready for that type of honesty that you're talking about, first of all, the therapy isn't going to work unless you are being honest and ready to go there, right? Like if the walls are up, you can't break through. And it's been life-changing for me. I love hearing that has been something that you're tapping into, and like your honesty. And I think a lot of people, and you saying this, I bet you there's way more trauma, because I know I have it, that most of us aren't even aware of, that came out of our relationships or whatnot, that happened during COVID, that like we're just not even
Yes.
aware of yet.
Because I think in some ways we're still surviving. We're
Agree.
trying to figure out, like, wait, what just happened?
Yes.
But there's not a lot of time to go through that because we just went right back into the madness and the craziness. And if we don't kind of stop and have these moments where we reflect back on the trauma from COVID and how it impacted each one of us, then we're never going to be able to tap into the trauma from our childhood.
Mm-mm. No.
It's not fun. It's the worst. I
It
wish there
is.
was another
It's the
way, but there's
absolute
not.
worst. But it's like if it
So
doesn't
mean.
come out, it's gonna come out in other ways of our lives. So if we're not allowing it to come out in a certain healthy environment, it'll creep into your relationships. It'll creep into who you choose. It'll creep into the friends that you have. Like it will show up whether you want it to or not. So you might as
Even
well just,
physically. It
yeah,
might
you might
even
as
show up
well just,
physically.
yeah, physically, right? Like your age, your health, like it's gonna be there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
Your body will hold it. If y'all haven't read The Body Keeps the Score, I
I
would
was just
highly
yeah,
recommend that
I
book
was just
as
gonna
well.
mention that. Yep. Yeah. I mean, Romy, you were having some
Oh,
shit happen to you. You had no idea what was going on, but you were so stressed
I had
out.
chronic hives. I've had, the stomach. I had my
Bingo.
body literally like
Shut down.
shut down, due to the trauma. And then, like you said, with the PTSD, I went to get my body scan like a few months ago, and she does my brain scan, and I leave, and she goes, "Oh, do you know that you have some PTSD in your brain?" I was like, "No shit." Like,
I'm sure you
I'm
do.
sure
Yep.
I do. And she goes, "What are you doing to take care of that?" Like, wanted to make sure, like, I think that was, first of all, the first time a doctor's ever been like, "Hey, we looked at your brain, you have trauma," as opposed to like everything else that they go over, which I'm like, "Thank you." But yes, I'm in therapy doing that. But what I was going to say is, at church, like 2 weeks ago, my pastor is sitting there, and I walk in, and I don't know how to slow down, Lindsay. I don't know how to stop. I go, 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 go. That's my coping mechanism to life, right? I just have 1,000 things I got to do. So I'm coming into church, and I've got a list of things to do after church. Like, let's just check this off the list. I made church, onto my other things. And she's just like, "You need to slow down. You need to rest. God's telling you to rest." And she brought up COVID, and she brought up, the world, all of us shutting down the way that we did, and some of the beautiful parts to it, some of the
Right.
beautiful parts to actually like being home with our family, slowing down, and then how quickly we went back into, like you said, as almost like it didn't happen. Everyone
Yeah.
went back, right back, and almost forgot,
Hmm. If not more,
if
went
not
back and
more.
then more.
That's what
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
said. And now all we're doing is saying, sleep when you're dead, and da 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 da, and keep going, and like, dude, like, and so as a society, we just instantly forgot that this traumatic experience happened,
Yep. But our
and
bodies didn't.
our bodies didn't. So I love that you're bringing this up, because I think a lot of us had effort moments coming out of that happening.
Yes, yes. I write about a 15-year struggle with chronic pain and all the doctors and all the things, and it came down to trapped trauma that was unresolved in my body, and I was too emotionally exhausted and overwhelmed and burnout to even look into it or even know about it. I was just trying to remember to put the Eggo waffles in the toaster so I could feed my kids breakfast. That's some days how hard it was. And I know we all went through our own thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Preach it.
it's now that you touch on your kids, I'm curious to know, like, how did that effort moment and everything that happened since COVID affect your kids?
Oh my Lord. I would, they're so resilient as well, but they were shielded from quite a bit of it. I will say, with all of my many failures, I think being a good mom isn't one of them. I'm not saying I'm perfect, Lord, not at all. But for whatever reason, that was my anchor, and walking them through that, us all being in therapy, um, them going through hard times, experiencing really hard times, but watching me show up for them and be there for them. And they will look back and remember that I chose me and them again this time around, which is much more important than the first time around. And I hope that they will just be little resilient badasses, you know?
You said, Lindsay, like a not like the perfect mom. And I think, first of all, like I deal with this struggle as well because I've gone through my share of really traumatic things as a mother, right? I've had to go through life experiences where my daughter's right there with me. And it's the balance of this is happening, but how do I shield and protect you, right? This is happening, but how do I also not avoid you too much of the reality? And I struggle with going to my therapist and being like, I don't want to be a bad mom. And we're great moms. Every one of us are great fucking moms. Our kids have beautiful lives. They are healthy. They are happy. They are fed. Life happens. But my therapist gave me this reminder just a few weeks ago, which was like, shit in the world is going to happen. They're going to face it, whether you face it with them or not. And so the less traumatic thing is watching, like having real honest conversations where they do get to see you take care of yourself through it. Because whether we want to or not, they're going to walk out to the world and be faced with like the world,
Life,
life,
all the things.
all the
Life will keep
things.
lifing.
Yes,
Yep.
like all the things. I can't protect her from it all like I want to. And so badly I struggle with the protecting her of like what my choices do to us, right? Like, what are my choices going to do to my kid? And the reality is, yes, along the way they're going to fuck her up, right? Like, I don't know how to do relationships great. That's not my strength, but I'm a fucking incredible mom. I'm there at
I love
everything.
that.
I show up, right?
Yes.
I choose her before all. I choose me for her. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not the great at love, right? That's not my strength. But I think so many of us,
Me either. I'm like, no, stay away.
right? So many of us are so quick to judge, like that mom's getting a divorce or that mom did this. And it's like, listen, people,
Yeah.
pick your battles. Something's going to affect your kid, whether it's my divorce, your divorce. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
and you choosing you. I love hearing more women do this because we just didn't see that growing up. We always talk about this on the show, but more women being like, I choose me. I'm okay being selfish with me. And that is me being a great mom.
Yep. Yeah, we used to just exist for everyone else.
Yes.
I was a huge people pleaser.
Yes.
Like, how can I just set myself on fire so I can keep everyone else warm? And then you're left with a pile of ashes and you're like, oh, hell no, I'm not doing this anymore. No, thank you. Mm-mm.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know any woman who has not. And I think it's just grilled into us as like
It
little
is.
kids. Like you're
Yep.
don't ruffle feathers, be polite, be this, like
Be
be
small.
small. And yeah, it's like that shit's gonna come up at some point. You're just be like, I can't fucking do this anymore. I need to get
Mm-mm.
loud and I need to be me. And so
Yeah. And you can still be kind and a good person, but stand up for yourself.
yeah,
Like,
boundaries, speak up. Yep.
yes, boundaries. Oh, the B word. Yes,
Yes.
Christ.
But we need them.
We do need them, and the people pleasing is huge. Like even for me in this season, like I'm down to like one or two friends that like I really really talk to or share things with, right? Like I don't over express it to like everyone anymore. I don't overshare I overshare in public to anyone, but like to my own crew, you know what I mean? Like my own core. Like I'll tell a stranger my life story, but like my own core, I'm very choosy
Selective.
and very selective. And like Lindsay, you've known me. Carla, Carla says I can make tree with a friend, like or make friends with a tree, and I can. But like, just because I can become best friends with the local tree doesn't mean I want to anymore. You know what I mean? Like,
No,
just because I
trees are
have the
horrible
skills,
friends.
I don't want. They're horrible friends. You know,
Such bad communicators. They're just so silent.
they're so stiff. They're so stiff.
Oh, the tree
Wow.
tropes. I love it.
But like I just feel
Oh,
I
shit.
feel that energy of like when you really do the work, you really really just you do have those boundaries, who has access to you and who doesn't. And then the people that are in your circle, which you do need, like we said, you do need your tribe, but it's the right ones, right? And it's for the right reasons. And there is that like new beginning, I think, that happens, and a lot of clearing. I know for me, a lot of
Yes.
clearing
Yeah.
when you really do the work.
Yeah, and realizing that it's not your responsibility
No.
how someone reacts
No.
Mhm.
to your needs. That's their shit. Like
Yep.
you just got to be clear and like however that you can only react or you can only control you. And
Yeah.
so
Yep.
just have to be
What
okay.
other people think of me is none of my
It's
It's
business.
none of
so
your
cute.
business. Yeah.
Frankie yesterday at the table was like, she's going through it, but she's looked at me and she doesn't know me well enough on that level, right? Like she knows me well enough as mom, but one day she'll figure out like the woman that I am, right? And she's slowly
Yeah.
starting to, right? As she's turning 8. So we're at the table and she's like, mom, does it hurt you when like someone makes fun of you? And I was like, no, I don't give a fuck. And she was like, but it kind of bothers you, right? And I was like, no, because, and I looked at her and I was like, trying to get the message clear that that person is hurting. It's about them, not me. It's about them, not me. So when you get made fun of and when somebody attacks you, which they will, baby girl, we don't do that to others because that's about them. Like it is
Hurt
not
people,
a
hurt people.
hurt people. Like that little kid
Yeah.
making fun of you feels something for themselves and it's put on you. So if I can make that message so loud with her now, yes, it's going to
Yeah.
hurt. None of us want to be made fun of. I don't like being called crazy. It sucks, but it is what it is. But ultimately, my crazy is being called crazy because something in you wants to be fucking crazy and you can't be, right? So you're going to call me
Mm.
crazy because it's how it works. So like even our children seeing this, it's like, I don't know, just you bringing that up. I'm like, that message with Frankie yesterday was so sweet because I'm like, okay, these are those opportunities with our little ones to start creating different dialogues, right? That like we did not have as kids.
Mm.
Nope. We didn't need, I mean, the fact I have to, praise you for that. The fact that she opened up and said that conversation and started that with you says a lot about your parenting. Just
Yeah.
that she would be open to
Yeah.
ask those things.
She just
I mean, our generation, what were feelings? We didn't talk about feelings. You had one feeling and you were happy and, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. That's right.
Be
Yes.
happy.
Anything else you get smacked about the head.
That's right. That's right. Yep.
If I had any feelings growing up, my parents were very different, but they were on the train of like, if there was a feeling, then I was like emotionally like already damaged, right? So like I grew up with that very like, you're damaged, you're sick, you're not well for having feelings.
Mm.
So
Mm.
that's
Wow.
been a huge journey of my own where it's like, no, I'm not actually, I'm just actually reacting to life. I'm not ill,
Yeah.
right?
You're having
Like
human
I'm having a
experiences.
human
Hmm.
experience that no one wants to have, but like I'm over here having them. Right. And so now I'm the black sheep. Where with our children, I think it's beautiful that they do see us have these. I think it's beautiful that they hear your story. And like Carla always says, if we help one person and if that person is our kids, that's why we started the podcast. We want to have a message for our girls. If you write that book and nobody reads that fucking book but your girls or your kids,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
then that's it. That's all
It's a win.
that's a win right
Yeah.
there.
Oh, I love that.
I'm curious to know how would you describe yourself now versus the Lindsay before that effort moment?
I am so much more discerning. I know that may sound weird, but it could be a little bit of cynical right now, maybe, but I am more selective, like you said, Romy, and I'm on the lookout for anyone who might try to take advantage of, kindness or empathy. I don't take any shit from anybody anymore. This is a new thing. I have genuinely been a people pleaser for, 40 or so years, caring way less about what people think of me. And I know that now I have choices. I get to choose how I spend my time, my money, and I'm gonna live for me and my kids because no one else is gonna be there at my deathbed, most likely, right? And so why would I keep living for all these other people? I stand up for myself. I'm much more authentic and direct, and I just feel like I'm growing up finally.
Yeah.
Man, I love that you just said that. Like the fact that these people are not going to be by your deathbed, like that right there for
Mm-mm.
everyone listening who's a people pleaser, remember that
Yeah.
because they are
Yep.
not.
Nope.
So stop
Nope.
living your life for other people and live your own freaking life. Be free.
Yes.
Yes.
Be free. I love
Yes.
it. Be you because you're fucking magic and find what's like I'm really leaning into my quirkiness,
Yeah.
and if I'm weird, I'm not trying to be small. in my career, with my family, friends. Like, this is me,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, there's a billion other people in the world you can go spend time with.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
I think I came out of my mom that way, and I'm learning how to, like, like like tone it down and live it in a good place for me. I love that more women are. I love that more moms are. I love seeing you,
Uh-oh.
even my friendship with Carla and watching her get to this place as well. It's inspiring, and I love that more women are coming to this place in their lives, right? I love that there's a generation of moms and women that is just inspiring, like the next generation of girls to really be that, because we didn't have that from our moms, right? So we're creating a whole new generation of like parenting right now, and it's just amazing to see. My next question then also would be, what is your message to your children and to anybody listening?
I think just re-emphasizing that you've, as much as we know, we've only got this one life. Fully embrace who you are. Learn how to love yourself. That's the hardest part. We can't love anyone unless we have deeply loved and accepted ourselves. You're worthy of fighting for. You're worthy of love, and you are worthy before you even wake up and do anything. I think I would say you don't have to like yourself, or you don't have to like the situation you're in, but you do have to like yourself in the situation.
Mm, yeah. And I
Yeah.
think the whole love yourself thing, I know with people I work with and with myself, and I'm glad you're saying, like, none of it's going to happen if you don't find that self-love. You got to love yourself before you can give that love to like anybody around you. So if you're trying to love someone in a relationship and love your children and love the people that you are, putting this effort into, if you don't love yourself, you can't do it. It cannot be the most authentic type of love. But also, it's that same thing we talked about, Lindsay, of bullshitting when you write. You can't bullshit your love for
Mm-mm.
yourself.
Don't bullshit a bullshitter.
You can't say I'm having a self-love day. Right. Yeah. You can't bullshit a bullshit. Like, you can't be like, oh, I love myself so much. Like, you really got to get to that place, like you said, that even when the bad shit is happening, you know your worth. You love yourself through it, because it's gonna happen.
Yep. And sometimes it takes a lot of trauma and pain to get to a point where all you're left with is you. And you may start loving yourself for the first time now. And that's okay. It's never too late to start figuring out, do I even love myself?
Yeah.
And I didn't for a long time, or I loved parts of myself. But now I love the dark parts of myself and the light parts of myself, because we've got to figure out a way to harmonize those opposing energies of dark and light
Yes.
within ourselves
Yes.
before we think that we're going to see any change in the world.
Yeah, that is a really good way of looking at it. I will say I'm definitely still on that journey. I would
We
say
all are.
I love aspects of me, but there's parts where I need to work on. It's
Yeah,
hard. It's a
it is so
hard
hard.
thing to get to, but I see how necessary it is, because I know when I'm in moments where I'm feeling like, God, I'm awesome. Everything around me is different. Like the energy that bounces off of other people is different. So it's like it needs to be like that all the time. And it's not, I mean, it's not gonna be like that all the time, always, but like for most of the time, it should be. We need to get to that place. I need to get to that place where I'm like 100% fully love for myself.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah. And it doesn't mean you're always going to feel awesome, but
Yeah.
like sometimes the greatest love I can give myself is fully accepting who I am. And that doesn't mean I accept unacceptable behavior,
Right.
but I'm loving myself warts and all, and then I get to work on those parts of me that I don't really want to be a part of me.
Yeah.
And I think the important thing there is those parts of you that you don't want need to be from you and not from the people around us anymore. You need to
Hmm.
figure out what
Yes.
parts of you don't want, and not, I'm going to change this for this person or that person, or they don't like this or
100.
they don't like that. Like, we're done. We're done with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
choose,
Goodbye.
yeah, I choose what I want to change about myself, not you.
Hmm.
Yep. I love that. Oh, y'all are so good. I'm so glad y'all had me on here.
We love
Thank you so
having you,
much.
and
Yeah.
this we're just happy that we made this work finally, that we got your time. You've been very busy. Carla at the beginning of this is like, she's just been all over the place. I'm like, she has been very busy. So I'm proud of you. I am so happy to reconnect with you. I'm so happy to hear where you've been and that you've been vulnerable enough to share it with me and to reach out about your book. We will always support you. I will always support you. And will you share with
Same.
everybody where they can follow you, find your stuff, grab your book, all the stuff, get it out there?
Yes. Go to notanotherselfhelpbook.com, the website. I'm on Instagram, Lindsay Kane Leverton. The book is available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Audible, Spotify. I mean, you can't not find it. So, and then it's a coloring book and a full album and a book all in one. Because between every chapter, I also have a QR code that leads to one of my original songs. Or if you listen to it on Audible, there's a song in between every chapter. So 16 songs. You're going to love it.
That's so cool. What a different way of reading a book. Like that's so cool that you added these elements.
Experience.
Yeah. And it's all you.
I had to be unique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to. Well, we rush from one chapter to the next typically when we read a book, and this is dense and there are some intense concepts. So I didn't want people to rush through the book. I wanted them to be able to doodle or journal and listen to a song to let the seed from the previous chapter kind of settle in before moving on to the next chapter.
That's amazing.
It's the artist in you. You had to do it in an artsy way, didn't you, Lindsay?
I know.
You had to.
I couldn't just be
write
normal.
A book. You had to give it your flair.
I did. My flair.
Put her flair on the book.
Oh, yes.
Well, this is where we all say just F it. Lindsay, you go first. Carla, and then I will.
Just F it.
Just F it.
Just F it.